Hi everybody, I'm Mike, this is Budget Guns and Gear Reviews, and the following video that you're about to see is one that I'd intended to be part of a second YouTube channel called The Next Week in History, where every Saturday I was going to post a video and talk about a few things that happened in the following week back in history. Well, for this 4 minutes that you're about to watch, I spent about 8 hours doing a lot of work and editing and whatnot for this thing, so I don't really have time to do that in addition to Budget Guns and Gear Reviews on a regular basis. So instead of doing that, I decided that I'm going to make this a regular feature on Budget Guns and Gear Reviews. So why don't you go ahead and sit back and relax and come with me as we take a look at something that happened today in history. The USS Indianapolis was a Portland-class heavy cruiser first launched in 1931. It had a long and distinguished military career, including service as the flagship of Scouting Force 1 during World War II, and also as the flagship for 5th Fleet under Admiral Spruance. It served with distinction in the New Guinea Campaign, the Aleutian Campaign, in the Battle of the Philippine Sea, and also in support of the invasions of Iwo Jima and Okinawa. It was in this last engagement, at Okinawa, that it suffered extensive damage from a Japanese Oscar fighter bomber's bomb. The bomb penetrated all the way through the ship and exploded under the keel. It did extensive damage to the fuel storage, and it completely destroyed the water desalination machinery. After Okinawa, the Indianapolis crossed the Pacific under its own power to Mare Island Naval Shipyards near San Francisco for extensive repairs. This bit of random chance ensured the ship's place in history. After the repairs were complete, the vessel steamed to Hunters Point nearby and took on parts for Little Boy, the bomb that was exploded over Hiroshima. The Indianapolis departed for Tinian on July 16, 1945, and delivered its cargo on July 26 after a brief stop in Hawaii. The ship was ordered to proceed to Leyte for training, from which it was scheduled to depart for Okinawa to join the fleet gathering there. Prior to the ship's departure, Captain Charles McVeigh asked the local naval personnel about enemy activity in the area. He was told that things were very quiet and that there was nothing to worry about. This information in mind, the Indianapolis set out on July 28th. However, despite the Navy's belief, there was at least one officer in the Imperial Japanese Navy who was determined to strike one more blow for the Emperor. Just before midnight on July 29, 1945, Lieutenant Commander Mochitsuro Hashimoto of the Imperial Japanese submarine I-58 spotted what he thought was the battleship Idaho steaming towards him. He submerged and waited for the range to close to under 1,500 yards before firing a spread of 6 torpedoes. 2 of the torpedoes struck the Indianapolis, one in the starboard bow and the other amidships. Fire and secondary explosions rocked the ship, which sank in 12 minutes. Of the 1,195 crew, 300 went down with the ship. The rest were cast adrift. A few of the lucky ones had life jackets. The luckier still were in lifeboats, but the majority had nothing. They were 280 miles from land at 12:10 a.m. on July 30th, 1945. One survivor said, "And that first morning, we had sharks." Many of the men were wounded and bleeding, covered in oil and burned. They huddled together for safety from the sharks, but the sharks took them anyway. Survivors recount seeing men being pulled under and eaten by the sharks. Some men went mad from thirst. Others drank salt water and eventually started hallucinating. A few even stabbed and killed their fellows during their fits, which produced what one man described as blood, 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 and sharks, sharks, sharks. After the men endured this aquatic version of hell for 3.5 days, the Navy finally discovered that the ship was gone missing when a PV-1 Ventura patrol plane spotted the men on August 2nd at approximately 10:45 a.m. Rescue ships and planes were dispatched and collected the men who were suffering from exposure and dehydration. Only 316 of them survived. Captain McVeigh was initially court-martialed for failing to zigzag the ship and for failing to order the evacuation of the ship fast enough. However, Admiral Chester Nimitz canceled his sentence, and McVeigh retired as a Rear Admiral in 1949. A congressional resolution was signed by President Clinton in October 2000, and in July 2001, the Secretary of the Navy cleared McVeigh's record. So tell me, everybody, what do you think? If you liked it, let me know in the comments below. If you hated it, let me know in the comments below. If you want to see more of this, let me know, and, well, If you never want to see some garbage like this again, let me know that too. Negative feedback is still feedback, and I want to hear it. Thanks a lot, everybody. Come on back. Maybe we'll learn something together.